Hey team, it's the Mercury Protocol team. We've been having a pretty busy week here at the office, kind of getting geared up for our launch that's announced to be on the 25th, so just a couple weeks away. And today we're just going to update you on some of the progress we've made since the last development update, which was about 2 weeks ago. And so just to start off, one of the things we're doing with the sale is we are registering users and doing KYC. And so we initially weren't planning for that with the smart contracts, but now that we are required to do that, and we had to update a lot of our smart contracts, or the couple of our smart contracts, to be able to register new users to be able to participate in the token launch, and then obviously update our test suite for that, and also do a lot of simulations to make sure that we are properly handling registered versus non-registered users when during like a token launch. And now the updated contracts are with our security auditors, so we should get that back pretty soon. Along with that, we're also working on a website that will allow users to do KYC on our website and register ahead of the sale. So that's been another project that we've got up and running. And then I'll hand it off to Elliot and Alex, who'll go through some of the protocol-related stuff that they've been working on too.
Last update, we were talking about the two main features we're working on, which are premium exposure and premium distribution. Exposure being where users can use GMT to feature themselves on the Discover New Users and New Content tab of the app Dust. And the premium distribution feature is where users can use GMT to send out a blast to X number of people who don't follow them. So as of the last update, we were almost finished with the premium exposure contract. So premium exposure has been completed, and it's integrated into Dust now. It's deployed onto the Rinkeby testnet, and we're using it in-app. So that's all. That whole flow is working. So we're kind of continuing to test and improve on that one, but it's more or less feature complete. And the other contract, premium distribution, the contract has been completed and deployed on Rinkeby, and we're now working on integrating that into Dust.
So yeah, a lot's been done since our last update, including we have a full transaction history that's being taken care of by our Mercury Protocol server, and that's integrated with both iOS and Android. So through Dust, you can see all the GMT going in and out of your account. We also wanted to make sure that we had to push as few updates through the clients as possible, and one of the ways we did that is we added a contract metadata endpoint, which includes things like the contract address, function names, and so that way, if during testing or even in deployment, if something happens where a function name needs to change a little bit, we don't have to make sure all of our Android and iOS clients have to update their version. So that's a nice change. It's also helped a lot with testing. So
yeah, the idea behind this is like we want our contracts to be upgradable as we develop, and so this kind of setup allows us to do that.
Right. And then along the way, we always want to make sure everything's thoroughly tested. So we set up for the Mercury Protocol server unit testing apparatus. So all of our business logic right now is being unit tested easily through a suite of tests. And the other exciting thing we got accomplished was we have this all set up on our development server, and we have an Ethereum peer running on AWS. So we have a secure link between our Mercury Protocol server and the AWS Ethereum peer. So we're pretty excited about that. A lot's been done. That's pretty much the main progress since last time.
So we have, there are definitely challenges along the way. So we'll go into a few of those challenges now. So when we first started developing these contracts, we were just using Ether. So that's pretty easy, through our Mercury Protocol server and through our Dust server. It's pretty easy to, interact with the contract and kind of respond to the result of that. But switching over to our ERC20 GMT contracts, it's a little more difficult because for a user to spend GMT on one of the feature contracts, we need to first approve that contract to transfer a certain amount of the user's GMT. So it's been a little difficult to figure out how to synchronize that, to wait for that approved call to come back before we then hit the feature contract. So that's something that's in the works right now. We have a few ideas on the plate, and by the next dev update, we'll hopefully have a nice clear answer for you guys.
Yeah. And on a similar note, another synchronization issue we're having is it's really just the error handling. So if I send, or if I try to pay for one of these features, but I don't have enough GMT in my account, the transaction fails, but it fails asynchronously, and so you don't necessarily get like a stack trace or an error message back. The transaction is valid, you get a transaction hash back, but sometime down the road you have to check and see whether it completed. So, and that's, do you wait a couple minutes? Is it a time-based thing? How do you handle that? So that's another challenge that we're working on at the moment.
Yeah, I guess these are just challenges inherent to blockchain, right? Because with blockchain transactions, it's not immediate, and you have to wait for the transaction to be mined and verified. And so, working around that, in a typical centralized application, we're so used to our own servers where we can just expect immediate responses or failures or success cases. Right? With the blockchain, it's not the case. There's no callback here. And so it's up to us to, query the blockchain again to make sure whether the transaction failed or not, and so forth. So really thinking that through. And one of the things I also want to say is that a lot of the stuff right now does seem a lot very Dust specific and tied to kind of business logic of Dust, but not all this code is still separate from any of our main Dust code, because the idea is we are going to open source these modules and these APIs and this backend so that when we open source a protocol, anyone can make use of it and easily integrate it with their own application as well. And then the last thing I wanted to close off is this is kind of up to launch. We have a lot of things to work on and features to work on, but we're also thinking about what happens post-launch. What does the protocol look like, and architecting that out. So we're going to release a technical white paper probably end of November, detailing out all of the features of the protocol. And so some of the things that I'm doing a lot of research on are, one of the premises of our protocol is that content is ownerless on the blockchain, or on the protocol, and so no application owns the content, which means you have to store it in a decentralized manner. And so looking into things like Swarm and IPFS and really figuring out what the solution looks there for that. Another thing is every user has a single identity, and then that's used within all the applications, and so there's a single identity and then a bunch of derivative identities that come along with that, or addresses, and so that different applications can have different wallets. So looking into key management and wallet solutions, doing a lot of research there, looking into the various BIP standards around that, and how we want to go about that. And then the other thing that we're really looking into is other features for tokenization that we think are going to be used in other applications besides Dust. We have premium distribution, premium exposure, but what are the more generally applicable use cases that we can come out with first and really open source so that everyone else can come on board and start using a lot of the stuff we're building out right now. So that's the update. And if you have any questions, you should just Slack us in the community channel. Actually, we're creating a dev channel in the Mercury Protocol Slack, so that's where you can reach out about more dev-related questions if you have any, and we're more than happy to answer those. But we'll also have a written update of this in the Medium post, so that's it. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.